Every time you hear the word DNA, every time you take a genetic test, every time a crime is solved with a drop of blood, you're using a discovery made by a woman the world forgot. Her name was Rosalind Franklin. In 1952, in a cold lab at King's College London, she captured Photo 51, an X-ray image so clear it revealed the secret of life itself, the double helix of DNA. It was one of the most important scientific images of the 20th century, and it was stolen from her. Without her knowledge, her colleague handed it to two rival scientists, James Watson and Francis Crick. They used it to build their famous model. In 1962, they won the Nobel Prize, while Rosalind's name was left out, not just from the award, but from history. She died in 1958 at age 37 from ovarian cancer, likely caused by radiation exposure in her lab. She never knew how her work changed the world, and the world never thanked her. This is the story of the woman who saw the shape of life and was told to stay silent. Rosalind Elsie Franklin was born in 1920 in London into a wealthy Jewish family that valued education, even for girls. At 15, she declared, "I want to be a scientist." Her father was skeptical. "Science is for men," he said. But Rosalind didn't care. She studied physics and chemistry at Cambridge, one of only a few women in her class. She earned her Ph.D. in physical chemistry by 25. She was brilliant. She was meticulous. She was stubborn. Colleagues called her difficult because she refused to smile when she didn't mean it. She refused to pretend. In a world of men who talked loudly, she chose to work quietly and let her data speak. In 1951, she joined King's College London to study the structure of DNA, a molecule no one understood. She used X-ray crystallography, a technique so precise it required hours of exposure, perfect alignment, and nerves of steel. And she was the best in the world at it. By 1952, Rosalind had produced dozens of X-ray images of DNA, but one stood out. Photo 51. It showed a clear X pattern, the unmistakable signature of a helix. From it she deduced DNA had two strands. They ran in opposite directions. The phosphate backbone was on the outside. She was close to solving it, but her colleague, Maurice Wilkins, resented her. He saw her as an intruder, a woman in his lab. Without her knowledge, in January 1953, he showed Photo 51 to James Watson. Watson later wrote, "The instant I saw the picture, my mouth fell open and my pulse raced." Within weeks, he and Crick built their model using her data. They published it in Nature in April 1953, with a footnote thanking Rosalind. Vaguely, she was furious, but she said nothing publicly. She moved to Birkbeck College and continued her work on viruses. Quietly, brilliantly, in 1956, she was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. She kept working, even from her hospital bed. She published papers. She mentored students. She never complained. She died on April 16, 1958, at age 37. Her obituary in the Times was 3 paragraphs long, no mention of DNA. 4 years later, in 1962, the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine was awarded to Watson, Crick, and Wilkins. The Nobel Committee never considers the dead, so Rosalind was excluded by rule. But even in their speeches, they barely mentioned her. Watson later called her Rosie, a name she never used, and described her as unfeminine. For decades, textbooks told the story of three men who discovered DNA. Rosalind, a footnote, a technician, a ghost. This isn't just about one woman, it's about how science treats those who don't fit the mold. She wasn't loud, she wasn't charming, she wasn't a man, so her genius was labeled difficult. Her contribution was labeled supporting. But without Photo 51, there would be no double helix model. Without her data, Watson and Crick would have been guessing in the dark. Today, we know the truth. Historians have restored her place. Schools are named after her. Google honored her with a doodle. But in the public mind, she's still the woman behind the men. So next time you hear DNA, remember the woman who saw it shape first. Remember Rosalind Franklin, the scientist who gave us the blueprint of life and asked for nothing in return. Because history forgets the quiet ones. But we don't have to. If this story moved you, share it. So her name lives on.